renovations. How are we keeping, guys? David here from Doc Fitness, and welcome back to the video. And just a couple of ones I've been getting lately around two main topics of when you're going through a fat loss phase. Like, it's great to be able to understand how to get that food flexibility in and not be kind of mindless eating salads and stuff all day long.
Hi, my name is Robbie from Ballinderry.
He won't let that down. But I also want to talk about the topic of discipline as well, and how you kind of need to be able to balance both of those if you're looking for, let's say, proper sustainable nutritional kind of, or how you approach the nutritional outlook, like, and how you keep that moving forward without kind of falling off the wagon or always going back to square one over time. So I'm going to get the whiteboard again to explain something a bit easily, because it does take a bit of explaining. So here's kind of where I'm going with all this. Look, you need to have some level of discipline if you're going to control the food intake you're taking in. So you can be eating in a calorie deficit to lose the body fat in the first place, right? Because a lot of people do start off like clean eating, but then from there, like, a next step from them could be getting a bit of structure behind meals. And this is where we educate people around what are protein, what are carbs, what are fats, like what's the overall calories and how they make up the overall calories. And we get a basic meal structure from there, which leads to having control of your calorie intake. That's all you're doing. It's what all diets do at the end of the day. All they do is manipulate calories, and that's going to get you the result, right? And the reason why people might stick at, I would say, a clean eating approach is because they might see some results in it, and that alone in itself is like, yeah, keep going. Well, I'm doing it right. This is the only way I must do things. I must eat clean and train in the gym, whatever it is. And if they keep seeing results, they're going to keep doing it. So the first question becomes, like, they don't really know kind of how easier they can make that on themselves, because the biggest con to this in general is that there's no real flexibility there. Where does chocolate come into play? Where does wine and that kind of stuff come into play? How can you have those in your day without being guilty after it, without kind of binging, and without setting yourself back as well by overeating as such? So the biggest con here is, we'd say, sustainability, and there's actually no flexibility with that really as well. So the next step I want to show you then is introducing flexibility into the whole approach, because so if you take into practice, say, common sense and actual experience we have from coaching members here at Doc Fitness as well, flexibility is huge for a lot of psychological factors going forward. You don't really feel like you're dieting as much if you're allowed to have chocolate, or you're not restricted to any foods, or you don't see yourself restricted to any foods. And when you actually look into the actual science behind them as well, it's been shown for things like adherence, better weight loss, sustainability for the long run. So adherence is just sticking to the diet in the first place, better weight loss because of this factor, and because it's sustainable for the long run, and you can really see it kind of incorporated into your lifestyle. And as well, there was even a recent study done a few years back where they had one group eat bread, and they had one group they weren't allowed to eat bread, and it showed that the transgression from the group that weren't allowed to have bread was a lot higher as the weeks went on compared to the group that were allowed to eat bread, and their calorie intake ended up a lot higher as well, because they were restricting that food and probably taking it in elsewhere to kind of compensate for that. So again, you see there's a big psychological factor coming back to this as well. Like, but what I kind of mean by that is, like, flexibility overall is, let's say, you don't have to be stringent and or rigid with every single meal you have or every piece of food you have. If you wanted to, you could have that. Let's say, just an easy example is chocolate, and as long as it's within your overall calorie intake for the day, you're fine. Okay. Now the biggest con to all of this is that when people have this and they learn the kind of flexibility side of it, or someone might be shown first to track calories and track macronutrients, and when you do that, then you might only see food as numbers, and as long as it's being tracked and you're hitting your macronutrient goals, flexibility kind of becomes like a complete freedom type thing, and that's what you don't want. You don't want to be basically eating shit all day long or tracking my fitness pattern and fooling yourself and thinking, yeah, that's good and it's healthy and it's going to keep me performed. Like, how sustainable is that for the long run? You've no kind of foundational habits laid there as well, and you're forgetting the health aspect of food as well. So the main thing here, what I'm trying to get across is just having a balance of both of those. Having the discipline to have that meal structure, to track calorie intake whatever way you do it, and to have that bit of flexibility as well, so you can have balance on the two. So like when you do that, again, I've talked about this in a lot of blogs, but again, like a very, very simple one that a lot of people know these days is like an 80-20 guideline. It's not some magic rule, it's just something that kind of works well. And if you look at this as 80% of your day of, let's say, real, what way do you want to put it, real whole foods. And like again, it's just like chicken, real foods like chicken, eggs, you'll have your protein sources here, you'll have your carb sources, you'll have rices there, you'll have, what else will we have, let's say a sweet potato just for example, you'll have veggies, nuts, oil, these are your healthy fats, you'll have butters. So again, real whole foods, like if you have 80% of your day from that, the 20% then could be like, it could be blatant junk food if you like, could be like sauces, could be processed stuff. Again, the idea here is once you're kind of hitting that 80 kind of target, you're already covering your health basis from it. And the 20% is not going to make a difference as long as you're controlling the overall calorie intake. So let's just say for example that I required 2,000 calories a day to drop that body fat, and I need to be training 3-4 times a week. So if I have my 2,000 calorie target here, right, 20% of that, 400 calories. Now this is going to make a lot more sense if you do track calories, but again that 400 calories could be, at the end of the day, let's just say if I ate 1,600 of good proper solid meals, I had 3 or 4 main meals with some veggies, carbs, protein sources in there, all real good quality food. I might have a 99 ice cream and a bag of popcorn that evening, and I'll probably still be under that 400 calorie mark. I know from experience in tracking that a regular 99 cone is 250 calories, and a regular 20 gram bag of popcorn is about 100 calories, which is bringing up that to 350. So again, that's kind of what I mean, like, and once you track this, this becomes a lot easier. But again, if I go back to the first part of this video, the discipline side of it as well, a lot of people start off like clean eating, then they go into meal structures, which is what we do first with clients, and then we go from there and we get a bit deeper into that. But this is what I'm talking about, like with eating what you want versus being disciplined. The discipline has to be there, but you need to be smart in terms of being healthy when you do become a bit more flexible as well, and planning and tracking your days in advance so you are able to get in that, let's say 20%. So I'm going to pop up a nice graph for here as well, just to drive that home for you. And as well, like, you could actually go out and search, let's just say if you left over 20% each day of the week, you could go out and search like what foods you like, and that's going to keep you under that 400 calorie bracket. If you mixed in a few sauces that day, it could take up 50 to 100 calories depending on what you're having. And things like lighter than light mayo and ketchups will come under that bracket as well. Like again, processed stuff, sauces, junk food if you like. But it could be a chocolate bar, it could be a glass of wine, a bit of alcohol, whatever it is. You have like a 400 calorie spending target here to play with if you want. And again, the key thing here comes back to if you want, and the 80-20 kind of guideline is a simple way to get started with the kind of flexibility side of things. But again, it's not an excuse to go off and start eating kind of shit all day long just because you know you can track it, because if you hit that 2,000 calorie figure with blatant junk food, you still would make progress and you still would drop body fat, but again, things like muscle retention and all that kind of stuff and health literally just go out the window with that. So just want to kind of bring those points up because I see it cropping up a lot lately, and it's a few questions that we're getting here in the gym as well. And I actually have a blog going through this in a lot more detail, which I will link at the bottom. But yeah, chat to you next time. Bye bye.